Welcome to Golden Mastermind Seminars Radio with your host, Jeffery Combs.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jeffery Combs in the saddle here today on Tuesday afternoon, Facebook Live on a breathe, release, and let go afternoon. Someone asked me the other day, how old are you? I am 68 years young, powder blue and gold today on Facebook Live on a breathe, release, and let go day. I'm going to let the call. Yuritsa, how are you this afternoon? Good afternoon, everyone. I have an awesome Facebook Live today. A very, very good topic that is a topic I am good at, and I'm going to teach you how to be good at letting go of difficult people. I'm just getting in the saddle here this afternoon. Jenna Ross, good to see you from Canada. Jenna, good to be here with you. Yuritsa, good to see you. Looking who my audience is here today. Hola, Yuritsa said. That's good. Thank you, Yuritsa. I feel I saw Jared. Here's my superstar Alexis. Good to see you. Rosa Linda, Josh Waxman, Aaron, good to see you. Good to see all of you this afternoon. Awesome to have you plugging in with me on Facebook Live. So I'm going to cover how do you address difficult people? What do you do when you encounter difficult people? Well, I'm going to cover that with you today on difficult people. So if you are in sales or you own a business or you're building a culture, you're going to encounter challenging clients. You're going to encounter customers. You're going to encounter off-the-wall people. Joshua, good to see you, my brother. I love seeing that $17,000 check. I'm giving you some love. And Aaron, I'm going to give you some love. I understand you're crushing it there. Good to see all of you here. Joshua, good to see you, my brother. Good to see those checks. I love to see those checks. So what I'm going to cover with you this afternoon is how do you address difficult people? Ryan, good to see you. Difficult people are going to show up in your life. They're going to be all around you. They're going to be everywhere. You're going to encounter them everywhere. Diane Hunt, good to see you. Your homeboy Josh is here this afternoon, so good to see both of you. Diane and Josh, through 6 degrees of separation, are both connected with me for over 11 years. I met Diane in 2014 and Josh in 2014, and they have been in the same room with me on multiple occasions, and they're here with me today. They're we're all connected. So good to see you. Jose, my brother. Jose, I'm taking you to dinner in Stockton soon. I'm going to start having more dinners in Stockton with my Stockton homeboys. You, me, and Kenny are going to hook up here very soon. So good to see all of you here this afternoon. Let's move into the topic today. First of all, I'm going to show you a book right here. This book is the game-changing book, a book that all of you deserve to own, and it's called Trapped in the Mirror. There's my girl, Emily. Emily, say hello to us out here. Give me a wave, Emily. Give me a hug and a high five. That's Emily Wilkerson. She's my homegirl. So right here we go. Trapped in the Mirror. This is the book that all of you deserve to own right here. Trapped in the Mirror. And it's written by this woman right here, Ilan Golam. And this book is about if you're an adult child of narcissist. Now, there's a high probability that you had a narcissistic parent, a narcissistic brother, a narcissistic sister. Someone in your circle of influence was in that level of anger. And so you've experienced it in your household, you've experienced it on the playground, you've experienced it in multiple situations. Now, if you're in sales, if you are building a team and you're building a culture, you're going to encounter these people and they're going to show up in your team. Or if you're dating, you're gonna date this charming dude or this charming woman, and all of a sudden you're gonna find out they are vicious. They're gonna violate you. They're gonna traumatize you. They're gonna rob you. Paul Hagedorn, my brother. Thank you. Oh my God, Paul, my New Jersey homeboy. Give it to me, Paul. Give it to me right there. Paul and me. It's good to see you, Paul. So Paul feels this. So what I'm covering is letting go of difficult people. I mean, difficult people are difficult because they are difficult. They were born difficult and they continue to be difficult, and they go out of their way to traumatize you. They live in trauma bonds, panic patterns. They're gaslighters. They ghost you. They lie to you. They tell you what they think you want to hear. And they show up when you're selling. You'll encounter these people. They are pathological liars. And it's going to be your responsibility to be very skilled at letting them go. And so that requires true humility. You don't let someone go by being in the ring with them. And you don't let someone go by validating, justifying, explaining yourself. I am King fucking Kong of not only teaching this skill, but living this skill on letting go. Letting go is a skill set, and when you are letting go, you are separating your feelings from facts, from the outcome, and the results. So you can be right in the middle of it in absolute pure power. And when you're in your power, that's true humility. So it means your cage doesn't get rattled. If someone throws at your head like Alexis and I would understand, if that high inside tight, fast pitch comes at your head and you get knocked down in the dust in the batter's box, you don't get up and get mad at the pitcher. What you do is you get up and you get back in the batter's box. Because if you give your power away, then you're giving your power away to a narcissist who is seeking to harvest your energy. These people are emotional and spiritual vampires. If you are married to one of these people, if you're dating one of these people, get out of the relationship. I mean, what do? Well, you got to find the solution, baby. You got to stop doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, because it's going to be your responsibility to find the outlet. It's going to be your responsibility to find the courage to find the solution. I mean, the answer is you find the solution. You can't continue to be in harmony and peace when you continue to get traumatized by someone over and over. Now, you can be in a relationship with someone short term and be non-attached, but whatever the situation is, you have to find the solution instead of living in the problem. Now, here's what happens. Now, I've been a coach for 27 years. So there's a percent of my clients that hire me to set me up to disappoint them. They'll say it again. There are people who will buy from you. They'll join your team. They'll hire you. And they will set you up to disappoint them. Jose Anders is one of my homeboys here from Stockton, California. He's a real estate professional, and he understands that he hires general contractors and subcontractors, and these people are pathological liars, some of them. They're pathological liars. It goes with the trade of real estate, and he has to navigate these den of thieves. Come out here, Jose. Give me a fist five, my brother. And he has to be able to address these people and get the task done. And if you have a team, and I coach dentists, and I swear dentists have the most difficult business model they have. I mean, they have a room full of women. Most of them are codependent. A lot of them are narcissists. They're underachievers, under-earners. And the dentist and his wife that run the business, they have to contend with all this. And I mean, it's a high dental office has a lot of overhead, a lot of moving parts, has to have a lot of employees, and then there's a lot of regulatory issues, and it's a lawsuit friendly type of business. I mean, you have to be a freaking rock star to be a dentist, and you have to be a skilled professional to be in business, right, Jose? I mean, if you're in real estate, you got all these moving parts with pathological liars at the same time, and you're going, what the fuck, dude? I mean, I'm just a good guy trying to navigate life, and I got to deal with all this. That's true, you do. You have to deal with it. So the more people you have in your team, so if you're building this big team and you're going to be a multimillionaire, then you're going to have some big problems, because the bigger your team, the more trauma, the drama that's going to get created, commensurate with the percentage. Now the percentage, so for every 1,000 people, you got to factor there's going to be some freaks. There's going to be some freaks. There's going to be some geeks. There's going to be some pathological liars, serial cheaters, nutcases, people that are fruitcakes. They're off the fucking wall. I mean, you're going to encounter this. I mean, I have had organizations in the thousands, and I have, oh my God, it's like, and I mean, I became the best babysitter in town at times. I mean, I'm like going, what is this person saying to me? Are you kidding me, dude? I mean, I'm answering this. Yes, you're answering those questions, because that is what you get paid for. You have to be so skilled at being skilled that you're skilled. I mean, if someone says, Jeff, you're the man, you're right, I am. Because it's not that you're good at making money, you're becoming good at managing people. And when you become good at managing people and managing emotions, you are absolutely the man, or you're the woman. So if I say to you, Alexis, you are the woman, it means because you are the woman. It means you are really good at navigating these pathological liars. These people that buy products from you and then they get buyer's remorse, and 2 weeks later they cash out. Or you have a teammate who tells you, "Oh, I'm the man. You can retire off me, dude." And then you look around and you go, this dude hasn't produced 1 ounce of volume. I mean, this is what happens. And then these are the people, they whine and they complain, and then and who do they want to blame? They want to blame you, because you are Christian, because you have God in your life, because you have spirituality, because you have goodness that exudes from you, because you're a quality person. Unfortunately, you'll more than likely have some codependent tendencies that people will tend to take advantage of you. And if you let them take advantage of you, then you'll be right here. You'll be trapped in this mirror. And that's why it's so good that you start to understand this key term. People are predictable. And the more you understand people's predictability, the more you'll be able to attract people who aren't difficult people. So if you build an organization and you're really good, so you'll have the 80-20 rule. If you're relatively average at it, 80% of your organization will be a lot of trauma and drama. If you get really good at it, you can begin to bring that number down to 10%, 5%, and 1%, but it takes a lot of practice and repetition and experience. So if you're going to be a millionaire, you will absolutely earn it because of all the personalities. You will get skilled at managing, letting go, massaging, seducing, and being able to navigate their trauma, their drama, while you maintain your dignity, your character, your poise, your ability to understand people. You have to become a leader grower, a mentor to mentees. And this requires a lot of heart. It requires a lot of talent. It requires a lot of skills. And you have to do your best to not take it personally. Because once you begin to personalize it, then they own you. And once you begin to get angry at them, they own you. And if you want to get even with them, they own you. You have to be so skilled at being non-attached that once you become non-attached, then the emotional spiritual vampires will go away eventually. Because when you're not their counterforce and you stand in your power, then they can't harvest it from you. When you are in true humility, you're not giving your power away. So humility oftentimes gets misunderstood, and non-attachment gets misunderstood because it looks like you're indifferent. It looks like you don't care. It doesn't. It means you care enough about your own energy not to give it away. And this takes skills. So if you're in your 20s, don't get discouraged. If you're in your 30s, this takes a long effort over a long. If you're in your 50s and you're just starting, buckle up, buttercup, because you got to really dig in and get good at this, and you got to learn not to take it personal. Also, you have to learn, if you're someone who wants attention, you have to learn to respect your elders. That means you have to learn to respect your leaders and your mentors. And if you're going, teacher, over here, and if they go, dude, SFTU, I mean, you've already asked me 10 questions. Then you have to learn to humble up. And I mean, if you ever see me do seminars, I've absolutely silenced people who are trying to steal the room from me. And I've had it happen a few hundred times. There's many of you have been in rooms with me and seen me do it. When someone goes, "Can I ask you a question?" I go, "No. Jeffery, you cannot share." And it's not, you see me do this because I know what they mean. I know what they want to do. They want to steal they're emotional spiritual vampires. They want to harvest I'm having some I had a few technical, so once again, there was a technical difficulty and I am now back. Now, when do you change? When you're ready. So you want to be able to, if you grew up, how many of you grew up with difficult people? You had difficult parents, or you had a difficult brother, and your parents were directing their energy to him, or a difficult sister? How many of you had narcissistic parents? Give me a fist five. How many of you had parents that were alcoholic addicts? Give me a fist five. How many of you grew up with multiple men and women going through your household? Give me a fist five. So if this is you growing up in this means you're going to grow up in anxiety, fear, and doubt. It means you're going to be in fight or flight. How many of you had a parent that you could absolutely not please? How many of you had a parent who absolutely went beyond the call of duty to sabotage your success? It becomes very contradictory. And how many of you had parents that everything was a moving target? So you had a goal, but you were never allowed to reach the goal because the target always moved, and then you never were able to feel comfortable. So these are some of the situations that you look down the gun barrel at. You don't blame anyone. You take full responsibility for where you are today with your life, and realize that the trauma that you've experienced, there's 4 types of trauma. There's emotional trauma, sexual trauma, physical trauma, and then there is generational trauma. So if you grew up in generational trauma, this domestic violence, thank you. That's the physical trauma, domestic violence. Sexual trauma is even more horrific, because that really can mess with your head, because if it's incest or inside your family, these are the people you trust. And if you can't trust your family, then who can you trust? Well, this creates trust issues. I've been coaching on this for 27 years, and I focus on these 4 areas. I'll tell you once more. Generational trauma, that's the trauma of both sets of grandparents, their grandparents, their grandparents. So if your parents were immigrants, grandparents, and they came over from Ireland 100 years ago, and they landed in New York, and they lived in poverty, and then they migrated to Philadelphia, they migrated to somewhere in New Jersey, or they migrated to somewhere, or they migrated to Pennsylvania, and then you grew up in this, well, then that trauma is a bond. And if you grew up in, like I part of my family were sharecroppers, and my grandfather was wealthy, so I had these 2 different families going on at the same time. Or if you grew up with sibling rivalry, where you're the 3rd child of 2nd child of 3, you're the middle child, or you're the 1st child, and you become a grown-up before your time. I mean, this trauma can really have an impact on you until you begin to understand the skill of letting go. So here's the 4 traumas again. So it's generational trauma. That's the trauma that you inherit from your family. There's physical trauma. That's the domestic violence. That's you're beaten. You're sent out to the tree to get the switch off the tree. You're beaten by the switch, and then your mother pulls you into her breast and tells you she loves you, and she beat you for God or for Christ. I mean, that really can mess you up. So then there's the emotional trauma, the chronic criticism that you experience by having someone who's highly, highly critical. And the more you understand this, the more that you can begin the process of letting go. So the recovery process begins when you start to understand that the pain is great enough. And when the pain is great enough, you will begin this process of letting go. And in that process, you will start to have clearly defined boundaries. And clearly defined boundaries means you've crossed the bridge, and you will no longer let narcissistic personalities in your life. You will no longer accept criticism from people. I'm in a place right now in my life where I will no longer let certain situations happen where I will let anyone criticize me. I'll receive wisdom and insight, but not criticism, and I will not get confronted confrontationally. And I've created a boundary. It's in specific situations, and I know exactly where I'm improving in at, and that's what you learn to do too. You have clearly defined boundaries about how you operate with people in your influence, and you're creating a higher level of non-attachment. Not detachment. Detachment is indifference and anger. Non-attachment comes from power and comes from your peace. In a non-attached state, in humility, you're able to let people go, and then you're also in the state of recovery that you are clear that you are not responsible for other people's feelings. This will be challenging for you if you have narcissistic parents who depend on you, and then they use guilting and shaming techniques to try and control you. Or if you have a wife or a husband, or you have children, it's the inner family that you have to really address, because this tends to be the most difficult for people to set the boundaries with their family, because the lower self-ego likes to qualify that by saying, yeah, but that's my family. Well, if you have a family that wants you to rescue them, and you got to be able to have this boundary that says, I can't do this anymore. I'm not responsible for your brokenness. I'm not responsible for your debt. I'm not responsible for you being homeless. I'm not responsible for you. I mean, you can give a hand up, but when you keep giving handouts, then there's an expectation, and then you are expected to take care of them. I once assisted this Spanish woman She was great. I have hundreds of these examples. Her name was Patty. Patty worked for a top food company in Chicago back in the day, about 15 years ago. And Patty's family all came to Patty. Patty made about $350,000 a year at the time in a top food company, in a distribution company, and her cousin borrowed $10,000 from her. And then her cousin borrowed $8,000 from her. Then I started coaching her, and I found out that her cousin owed her $18,000. And I started to find out that her parents were addicted bingo players, and her parents were always borrowing money from her. Well, Patty was the first child of 6, and Patty was the grown-up. Patty became the go-to girl. Patty also became exhausted. Patty got Crohn's disease. Patty absolutely broke down. Then she found me. Patty quit that job. Patty put clear boundaries on her family. Now her cousin, who didn't pay her back the $18,000 while I was coaching her, this was classic. Her cousin came back and wanted to borrow another $6,000, and Patty was crying, "What do I do? What do I do?" "You don't do anything." She says, "What do you mean I don't do anything?" You let your cousin know that there's no more BOP, Bank of Patty. That ship has sailed. She goes, "Well, what do I tell her?" "You tell her that it's the end of the era. It's the death of the ego." Well, her cousin went off on her. Patty came back to me. I gave her some insight. And over that next year, Patty let go of these people that had taken advantage of her over a number of years. I assisted Patty to add up all the money she loaned her family. It was well over 6 figures. None of them ever paid her back. She was able to let go of resentment for it, move on, and she became a top-tier internet marketer, letting go of that job, and she doubled her income. And also, she attracted a soulmate that was not a trauma bond. It was a very unique experience. And she was someone that I really assisted to establish the boundaries. Because if you don't have boundaries with difficult people, they will call you at midnight. They'll call you in the middle of the night. They'll expect you to rescue them, take care of them. And when you own a business, they want you to give them money, give them leads, do special favors for them because they are special. They are unique. They are cooler than the rest of us. And they have expectations bigger than their habits. They have expectations bigger than their talent. And the more that you understand why people do what they do, then you will begin to have a better understanding of difficult people. Now, in wrapping up here, here's how you spot difficult people. Difficult people talk to you with an edge. They talk at you. They don't talk with you. Difficult people typically are very charming, and they're also very hateful. And they will turn on you in a New York second. And you want to be aware of these people. So they're charming groomers. That's what narcissists are. And you want to be able to spot them easily and effortlessly and quick. These people also want a lot of attention. They want instant gratification. They want attention, and they want you to do more for them than they'd ever do for themselves. And you want to be able to spot this as a leader and a leader grower. And you have to virtually get these people out of your business and get them out of their life. God is on your side when they quit. That's the easy way. Or God is on your side when the water parts and they walk away. I coached a dentist today, and she was just explaining to me what was going on in her office about the difficult people. And fortunately for her, 3 of them quit while I'm coaching her. They didn't quit on her, they quit, and they did her a colossal favor so she didn't have to fire them or go through any of that. So if you own a business and you have employees, if you own a business and you have subcontractors, if you own a business and you have other contractors, if you own a business and you have teammates, if you own a business and you have customers and clients, it's going to be your responsibility to understand people are predictable, and their predictability becomes your power. I highly recommend this book. I also recommend Melody Beatty's book, Codependent No More. I recommend the 12-step meetings, Coda and Al-Anon. I've attended them many times. I recommend you download the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Al-Anon or Coda, or the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions of Alcohol Anonymous, because that'll give you really a system to live. And I recommend that you let go of the guilt and the anger associated with taking care of people. If you're a rescuer, if you're an enabler, if you do more for others than you do for yourself, I commend you to take that next step into sobriety and recovery. If you are married to a very difficult spouse, I recommend you do whatever you have to do to find your peace. So that's going to be up to you and what you do. But I highly recommend that you find better boundaries and you stop being the punching bag for someone else's abuse, because you deserve the best, not the worst. So you can't be someone's punching bag. You just can't. And as you begin to raise your consciousness, they won't understand it. They're going to get more angry than they've ever been, and you got to just sit in the middle of it and be able to be as humble as you can and let them completely melt down while you're sitting there in complete peace. It's very liberating to be able to claim your power back and no longer be the mind-body connection to the events that shape the feelings. When you're that man or woman of character, when you can stand up to tyranny, when you have the courage, when you have the ability to be humble, when you can really come from that higher self, letting go, then you will start to attract the love that you deserve. The people that you deserve to be in your life begin to show up in ways that you never were able to access that. Because what is happening is your pineal gland is now opening. So this is your hippocampus. That's where your short-term, long-term memory is. This is when you say, I can't remember my childhood. That's because of the trauma you endured, and your body holds on to repressed feelings. This is your amygdala. It's the pea-sized engine, it's a pea-sized gland that's your emotional search engine that searches for a familiar feeling. It's called the reticular activating system. Right behind that is the reptilian brain. That's the brain that looks for lions and tigers. And when you're addicted to narcissists, when you're addicted to being violated, you'll go out of your ego will go out of its way to find people to do this to you so you can justify your feelings. It's called a payoff. Now, Josh said, I'm letting go of my codependence with family so I can attract high quality. So that's correct. So if you get a chance, read what Josh just wrote. Josh is a top-tier student beginning to understand what it means to let go of a trauma bond. This is the book right here that will really take you to the next level. It's called Trapped in the Mirror by Elon Golem. I don't know her, but I coach a woman. I've coached a woman from Dallas that has coached with her for 3 years, and I've coached my client for 8 years. So she tells me a lot of what Dr. Golem says. That's a great book, and that's where it really begins, is with you creating very clear boundaries on who you are and what you will allow. My name is Jeffery Combs, President and Founder, Golden Mastermind Seminars Incorporated. Topic for today's Facebook Live, which will go into my podcast, is called Letting Go of Difficult People. Thank you very much for being here this afternoon. Emily Wilkerson, good to see you. Great to connect with you. I saw Diane here, and good to see all of you. Kira Fairchow. For those of you who don't know Kira is near and dear to me. Kira is a world-renowned Western artist from Montana, and I sing Kira's praises all the time. So Kira, go ahead and post your website if you can. Love, love, love your work. So Josh, thank you for bringing your team here. Deep, deep appreciation. And Diane Hunt, thank you for all you've done for me over the years. So I want to really acknowledge two people on today's Facebook Live. Josh and Diane have been with me for 11 years. I've been their coach over an 11-year period. Top tier people, I highly endorse them. And I saw Janet Lloyd. Janet's followed me for years, going back to about 2010, 2011. And Kira's been my client for many, many years. Some of you are new clients to me. Thank you. I'm deeply honored to be your coach, your friend, your mentor, leader, and leader grower. It's truly an honor to be here with you. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Breathe, release, and let go.